Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Terrific Tips for Business podcast. I'm Terry, your host, and we have a very special guest with us today, Mr. Frank Clark. For those of you that don't know Frank, he is also known as the Mr. Orange, hence my orange sunglasses. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, you'll see a lot of that coming up in our show. But Frank has been a serial entrepreneur for over 40 years. He's created and managed many multinational organizations with sales over hundreds of millions of dollars. His company, Lewis & Clark Incorporated, repurposes factory equipment used in the production of electronic goods. They're considered one of the premier capital equipment resale companies, and they are the approved vendor for most, if not all, electronic companies around the world. He has been recognized by top marketing firms as the leader of his industry. As an avid student of personal development, Frank has also been coaching and consulting individuals and entrepreneurs in the field of personal growth and business development. His newly founded coaching business focuses in on the inner drive that we all have to succeed, win, and truly feel successful. Known to many as Mr. Orange, Frank embodies the spiral dynamic level 5 orange energy of drive, success, and contribution to others. He's a loving father of 2 children, 1 grandson, and resides in Tampa, Florida. He can be found at themrorange.com, as well as on Facebook as Francis Lincoln, on Instagram as _Mr. Orange, and on his weekly podcast, Orange Crushing It. I am so excited and honored to have Frank with us. I actually met Frank back in January of 2020, and it was so serendipitous, and we had such a great conversation. So I'm so grateful to have you here. Thank you, Frank, for being part of the show.
My pleasure. Terrific. I love that, by the way.
I had to do something with the play on the name.
Oh, my God. No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And you are terrific. So
thank you.
It matches the personality. Yes. Thanks for having me on today. I really, really, really feel honored and very, it's special to be invited on anybody's show, but especially yours. You're really somebody that's whose marketing company is just consistent and going places, and, just love your energy. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So talk to us about these totally cool orange sunglasses that we have that say "Stay Inspiring" on the side. What gave you this idea?
Well, what gave me this idea, a little background on the whole Mr. Orange, if you will. As you said, I'm a big proponent of personal development, and I've been involved since 1997. Actually, even before then, when I did my first motivational seminar, if you will, was back in when I was 30 years old. So that goes back a little ways. And it was with a company called Insight, which is based in Santa Monica. And they were a spin-off of the earlier transformational seminars like EST and Landmark and all of those. Very NLP, neuro-linguistic programming based, which is the science of communication, really. Nonverbal communication is a lot of NLP. And I was fascinated by that stuff. And when I first got involved in it, I remember having some minor breakthroughs that made me understand that, it's okay to be vulnerable. Because at the time I was a young entrepreneur, and I made my first $1 million before I was 30. And, I was cocky, and I was basically one of those guys who was showing off all the time. And, whenever I could get an audience, I was the baller at the club. I was not exactly the stellar entrepreneur, if you will. But I was doing okay, and I was taking advantage of all that stuff. And then in 97, I went and did my first Tony Robbins event. And those of you who know Tony Robbins, he's a big guy, huge motivational guy. And I went to Fiji. I actually met him in 1998 and got to know the whole Tony Robbins experience. And I became a real junkie for this stuff. I went to all the seminars, and then I started going to other seminars done by Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy and all these, Jim Rohn and a lot of the major speakers back in the day. But what I liked is mainly about how, if you have a purpose-driven life and you're focused and you stay passionate to what really matters to you, and it's within integrity, that you can have a lot of influence on a lot of people. And so I got so hooked on the Tony Robbins stuff the last thing my friends and family wanted to hear was they need to do this. And of course, when you're a junkie with this shit, right, you come back and it's, oh, you have to do this. And that's the last thing anybody wants to hear is what they have to do, right?
Right.
So, so instead of, telling them they have to do it, I paid for all their seminars. So I had all my staff, and I had their spouses go, and I had my kids go, and I had my girlfriend, whoever I was seeing at the time, they all had to be involved in this. And it was amazing because we created a culture that was based around purpose-driven life and giving back. And it was amazing. A company grew. I started other companies as a result of it. Just a lot of things fell into place. And I was always coaching at some level. I was kind of, when you're a CEO and you've got, over the many years I've been a CEO, there's probably been thousands of people that have worked for me. And in that, thousands of employee space, you become the therapist, you become the marriage counselor, you become the boyfriend, the girlfriend, the wife, the husband, the HR consultant, whatever you want to call me, right? At any given day, you have to wear that hat because, you're always dealing with your staff and your vendors and friends and customers. And so you take on all these roles, and people would come back, 5-10 years later, and they'd say, hey, I don't know if you know this or not, but 10 years ago, you said this one thing, and it really changed my life. And I want to thank you for that. And those moments are treasured. And I never forget when somebody calls me up or thanks me for something that they learned that I said, or some way that I inspired them. And so I've always had a knack, and I've always had a desire to be more in the coaching space, more in the personal development, more in the, if you will, the stay inspiring space. And so fast forward in my life, 2017, my daughter says to me in January, hey, Dad, why don't we do some exciting thing this year? And she's a student of personal development. She's very goal-oriented, very successful. And I said, okay, Jen, what do you want to do? And she said, well, how about we do one of these Tony Robbins Date with Destiny events? And I had done that like 25 years prior. And I said, sure, but yeah, what the hell? Let's go do this Tony Robbins thing again. And so we go to a seminar in December called Date with Destiny. And it's probably Tony's best seminar. And he actually has a movie out on Netflix called I'm Not Your Guru, which is a little mini documentary, if you will, on the Date with Destiny seminar.
I've seen it. It's great. Yeah.
It's pretty wild, right?
Yeah.
And, 5,000 people there from 80 different countries. And it's quite a mixed assembly of people right off from all over the world. And in the seminar, they had this process, which I had never seen Tony do before. He had changed the seminar, obviously, quite a bit from 25 years prior. And he had this exercise where he explains the levels of consciousness. And it's a science that was studied in the 70s called spiral dynamics. And so these professors, Claire Beck and Don Graves, basically, documented these levels of consciousness. And as Tony's going through explaining each one of them, he talks about the strengths of each level. And as you ascend through these levels of dynamics of consciousness, you become what's called more outward focused. You become more of a global contributor. You care more about making other people happy than yourself necessarily, right? Financially. And so, he starts talking, he says, okay, this level is a red, level 3, and they're narcissistic. And of course that's everything. They're all about themselves. And then level 4 is all about, the people that are very rules-based, people that are into the Bible or into the Quran, or maybe they're military-based. Maybe they grew up in a military family and they're very, very rules-based, and you don't break the rules. And if it's not written, then it's bad, it's wrong, and we only cater to ourselves and our group, and we're not that open to other people. Well, anyways, when he starts explaining level 5, the color associated with level 5 is orange. And the characteristics of a level 5 orange are people that are driven, and they're passionate, and they're entrepreneurs, and they're about capitalism and making money, and they're about, maybe even showing off a little bit about their level of success. And, hey, look at my car, my boat, my house. And yeah, there's an element of that, right? But this is the first level of the levels of consciousness where people actually break out and start to recognize that our growth as a level 5 orange is directly proportionate to the number of people that we can help grow. So as an entrepreneur, I learned, my staff is the most important group in my organization. They come even before my customers, because if your staff is happy and they feel that they're growing, they'll grow your business, right? The two go hand in hand. And so I as Tony's explaining this, and then he talks about level 6 and 7, about the people that are Reiki healers and yogis, and all they care about is the love and the art. And, oh, it's so great and wonderful. And we're, we're going to meditate and pray to the moon and all that. And I'm like, well, that's, it's really cool. Are you making a buck doing that? You know what I mean? Can you make money doing that? I don't see how that. So it didn't really resonate with me. And of course, the level 6 green was, well, they're about social programs and free education and free healthcare and free, and everything's great and lovely. And we'll all give back and we're all equal. And I'm like, that isn't me either, right? I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I do agree in contributing, but that doesn't resonate with me. So anyways, Tony says, who in the room represents each one of these colors? Stand up, and I'm going to hand you a microphone of that color and a hat, and you're going to defend amongst the other colors why you're better. And so I raised my hand, and I was selected as the orange guy. And I went in and just said, hey, I'm all about orange energy. We're all about being driven. We're all about creating tax dollars, and what you create tax dollars, you grow communities, and you grow communities, you grow states and organizations, and you grow governments, and you grow nations, and you pay for all the what do you think the free shit that you want your life is, right? It's all paid for by us.
There's no such thing as a free lunch. Somebody paid for it somewhere, right?
Somebody paid for it somewhere. So I'm inciting a little mini riot to some part of the room, but I'm also getting a lot of people going, yeah, that's absolutely right. That's you. And I'm telling the blue people I appreciate them as customers, and they buy their Bibles from my publishing company. And, it was a fun event. Needless to say. So when it was done, I had so many people come up to me and go, that was incredible. It was the best part of my seminar. What do you do? Can I get your business card? Can we collaborate on some things? And I found an outpouring of people that came to me for me just being me. I was just being myself, right? I was just being up there talking about business and talking about who I am. And, I'm pretty outgoing. So, that charisma, I guess, came through, and I met a lot of people. Then I did a few more Tony events that year and met 5,000 and 10,000. And then I went to Date with Destiny. Well, when I came home after my seminar, I was really proud. I was really happy. I'm like, hey, I tell my wife, I'm Mr. Orange, and this is what happened. It was great. And there was a new relationship component of the seminar, and I'm all in love and blah, blah, blah. And I was just riding a cloud. And my wife of almost 20 years at that time said, well, you might be Mr. Orange, but you're soon to be Mr. Divorced also. And I'm like, holy shit, really? And so my marriage of 20 years almost 20 years came to an end. And not to blame anybody, because I truly, truly believe that you create, promote, or allow everything in your life. And even though I was devastated and I was really blown away, and it really came to me as a ton of shock, because everyone thought we had the stereotypical storybook marriage. And I thought we did too at some level, but I guess we didn't. So that all came crashing down. And, with divorce obviously comes grief, and it comes financial hardship and, a readjustment, if you will. And, you get on with your life. So when I went to Date with Destiny in 2017, I had a different set of parameters, different life goal, different things that were important to me. 2018, I got a whole new chapter to write, right? I'm a single guy now with, half my stuff. And I was used to having all my stuff, and now I don't have half my stuff.
New goals were created. Get more stuff.
Yes.
Back. Yeah.
Get my stuff back.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. So in 2018, I do the seminar again, and Tony has the same exercise again. Oh, this time I knew it a little bit. I knew what we were talking about. And I raised my hand, I'm jumping, I'm screaming. I wore an orange vest, like this bright safety cone orange vest, like bright like these glasses.
Of course you did.
I wanted to be seen, right? I wanted to be picked. And so he does. He picks me again. And I was blessed to have the opportunity to do it again. So another 5,000 different people, 80 different countries. And again, same result, right? I rocked the room. I became a little mini celebrity for the moment. You have 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
But I said, let's not make this just a 15-minute of fame thing. People want to hear what you have to say, and people really enjoy working with you, Frank. So create a business around this. And so I did. And that's when I started the Mr. Orange coaching. And my tagline on it obviously is to stay inspiring, because I want everybody to leave inspired, right? There you go. And to carry it forward. To be inspired is one thing. To stay inspiring means that you are inspiring, and that you are moving it forward, and that you are contributing to the world, and that you're making other people's days better than they started, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's my message. and obviously I've owned 6 different companies over the last 30 years. I know how to start up a business. I know how to create a culture. I know how to market and manufacture and sell internationally. So I have a lot of experience in that area. Clearly learning all the time. I have the dynamics of ebbs and flows of businesses. I've had situations that brought me to my knees financially. Legal issues one time that lasted almost 7 years. That was just devastating financially. It took a lot of toll on me and my company and my marriage, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
But you resurrect from it, right?
Right.
You pull through it and you get through it and you move on.
So I
And
think the thing that is really inspiring, you've given us a lot just now in this like first 15 minutes of this conversation. But I think one of the things that is really starting to kind of be a pattern that I'm seeing in your life and in the life of entrepreneurs who are successful like you is shit happens, right? But
right.
it's the mentality of, okay, so I'm in this shit, now what? And you find the way out of it. You find a way around it. You find a way through it. And at the end of the day, you come out better than you were when you went into it in many
Yeah.
regards.
In many regards, you're right, Terry. That's what happens. Um, you know, when you're an entrepreneur, actually any individual, okay, when we go, and we all are going to have times in our life that suck. We're going to have these winters, these seasons of winter, if you will, right, where things die and things need to be changed. And
Yeah.
to know that the season of spring, which is growth, follows a season of winter, right, is something that most people that are successful understand, and they believe in that. They believe that there's a better chapter that's going to happen to them.
Mm-hmm.
But before you can even get into that space, I think one thing that's really key is to understand that throughout our lives, there are events that happen. Financial devastation at 50 years or 58 years old hurts. Okay. It's tough to start over again at a later age in life.
Yeah.
But that can feel just the same as losing your pocket knife when you're 6 years old and it was your favorite gift on the planet, right?
True.
Because whatever you have at that time, or you're 10 years old, you lose a stuffed animal, or somebody steals your bike, or that same level of devastation can be felt equally, right? It depending on where you're at in your life. And the thing that's cool is to recognize is that throughout our lives there are events. There are events that happen. What makes it, what I think what separates people that are successful and people that get stuck is the meaning we attach to the event. Right? There's always a meaning we can attach to the event. Somebody doesn't like me and I'm 5 years old, or it appears they don't like me. I could say, well, and it's a girl, right? I could say, all girls are mean. Or I'm not,
Girls have
right?
cooties.
Girls have cooties, right?
Right.
They're just mean. And, or they just don't like me. I'm not good enough. So I take an event and I slap a meaning to it. And then as I get a little older, another event that looks like the first event, I go, oh, I remember this. Again, I'm not good enough. I'm not fast enough. I'm not rich enough. I don't dress well enough. I wear orange, and that's not a color that people like. I don't know, whatever the hell it is, right?
Right.
But you start stringing meanings to things. And now we're here in a pandemic. Okay, that's the event.
Oh.
What are we doing about the meaning we're attaching to this event? I got let go. I got downsized. I can't pay my bills. These are events. These are realities, okay? But they do not define your life. Unless you want to attach a meaning to it that's all bad things happen to me. This is just another example of that. We're destined to have, your DNA is wired that you're gonna have a planned life, and that's the way it's gonna be, and this is just part of my shitstorm that I'm supposed to have, and so I might as well start packing it in. Again, these meanings we put to things, if we give meanings energy and we give them focus, they become our reality.
Mm-hmm.
And so at this time and at this juncture in time, to pivot, really take a look at the events as they are actually happening. What's real? Okay, yes, you have to stay home. That's an event. Okay. Some people will look at this as, holy shit, I am lonely. Nobody loves me. I have no physical connection to anybody. Or the government is screwing me, and whatever you want to throw at me, the government is rude. This is a Donald Trump thing. This is a Joe Biden thing. This is a whatever you want to attach it to it, right? you are in control of that. Now, some people will look at this and go, "Oh my God, I get to spend time with my kids. Wow." Versus, "Oh shit, I got to spend time with my kids." Right? They're
Yep.
home all the time.
Was
And some
on.
people are like, "Oh my God, they're home all the time. This is so beautiful. This is so great. I get to spend time with my spouse. Now we're both working out of the same house together. I get to learn something. Anything, everything that you've ever given an excuse, I don't have time for. Well, shit, you better never leave 2020 and go, I didn't have time to learn how to speak Spanish. I didn't have time to learn how to play the accordion. I didn't have time to work on my company. I didn't have time to get lean and mean and, be that sex machine. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Everybody's
So,
got time. I think the one thing though that you said that was really good in this bit is you're talking about you get to. It's not I have to, or it's not I'm stuck with, or this crappy thing is happening. It's I get to. I get to spend time with my dog, who right now is driving me a little bit crazy because she wants to bark at something outside. But I get to spend time with my dog. I get to work in the same house as my husband. And I have the beautiful benefit of I've run my own business now for going on 3 years. So we've worked from the same house in the same office for years, right? But it's starting to drive him a little bit crazy that I'm home all the time and I'm in these freaking Zoom calls all day long. And so I'm in a different room today. I'm in my art room today so that way I can let him have the office. But
mhm.
I get to have this space. I get to have this time, and the frame of I get to instead of I have to, what that does to you psychologically and energetically, I think is a
Sure.
really valuable piece.
It's a 1 millimeter shift, right? It's a tiny, tiny 1 degree change.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't understand necessarily that, like, they look at things and think of things, well, it's this huge elephant that I can't fathom. I can't fathom starting an online business. I can't fathom doing a whole new career, right?
Yeah.
But like you said, just using the words get to versus have to, that's very small distinction in language, very small. But if you look at, here's an example of that 1 degree shift, right? You've heard the 212 theory. I don't know if you've heard it or if your listeners have all heard about it.
I haven't.
Okay, well, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Here's the 212 fundamental or theory on all this is that at 211 degrees, water is hot. Okay? At 212 degrees, water boils. When water boils, it produces steam. Steam can move a locomotive, hot water cannot. So 1 degree difference creates incredible momentum. And a lot of people may be at the 211 degree part of their life, where if they just took the 1 degree more, it would be amazing the results that they could actually start to produce. People that make over $100,000, make up, I think, 5% of the entire population of the globe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as you go from 100,000 to 500,000 to 1,000,000 to 100 million, the number goes so dramatic. It doesn't even go like 1%. It's like 0.0001% more gets you from 400 million to a billion or something crazy like that, right?
Wow.
It's the tiniest little shift. And people just, they don't understand that, or it becomes a concept that's just too unfathomable. And if it becomes a concept that's too unfathomable, think about the what I just talked about with steam. Think about, visualize, if you will, you have a pebble and you're standing right over a lake, and you drop the pebble in the lake. It creates a ripple. Mm-hmm. The first ripple where the rock hits the water is the 1st degree. The second one is the next one, the third one, etc. But each one, as it ripples out in the water until it disappears, is bigger than the first one. And you didn't do any more action other than drop the rock. But yet the ripple effect is exponentially double, triple, quadruple as big as the first ring that dropped. Right? So take the chance, drop the rock, right?
Yeah.
Go the 1 degree. Every day, how can I improve my life 1 degree? How can I have one more example of excellence in my life, right? How can I stay inspiring today?
And here's the beautiful thing about making a 1 degree shift every day is at the end of the year, you've actually made 365 degrees shift.
Yeah.
So what can that, if 1 degree can have that massive of an effect, what can 365% have?
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. You know, people have a to-do list, right? Or they'll go, that's a great example too, by the way. It's a great analogy. And to expand upon that even more, let's say that you've never been on a vacation in Hawaii. Okay. Never been. And it's your bucket list. You want to go. Okay. So day one of planning this, we sit around and we go, okay, this is my day one goal. This is my 1 degree. I'm going to announce to the world I'm going to Hawaii in November. Okay, that's it. That's all you got to do today. That's it. Done. Check the box. Day two. I'm going to tell my employer that I'm going to Hawaii in November. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what day. I'm just going. Tell my employer, check the box. 1 degree. 1 degree. I'm going to call a travel agent and ask them about trips to Hawaii. Box number 3, right? Yeah. You keep adding all these boxes together. Before you know it, you're in Hawaii in November. And I guarantee you it didn't take 365 steps to get there. Right? As a matter of fact, if you can think of any project you've ever done, let's build a house, let's start a company, let's get married and have babies. Whatever the biggest thing you could probably think of doesn't require 365 steps. Yeah. Right? It probably doesn't. So if you have a dream board, or if you have a vision and you have like 5 goals you want to do, and all you do is work on 2 of them, like 1 degree every day, or 3 of them every 180 action items. That's it. And you're done. You've got it done. One tiny little schmidge of shit that you do every day, and you got it done.
So I guess the question comes down to, how do we know if the step that we're taking is a 1 degree shift in the right direction?
How we know if it's going in the right direction? We don't always know if it's going in the right direction, right? We don't always know it's going in the right direction.
Right.
I listened to General Schwarzkopf speak one time when he's talking about Desert Storm and, putting the troops together to all be in one army. And, people don't necessarily get along with each other. I don't know, the Spanish don't necessarily get along with the French, and they get along with the Brits, and they get along with the Americans, and or the Aussies. And you got to put them all in this thing, right? This is the Desert Storm United Force, right?
Right.
And I got guys that don't like each other, or guys that don't agree on different things, right? You say, when you're in a position of leadership, make a decision. Right or wrong, make a decision. If you screw up, make a total fucking wrong decision, make another decision. Change direction, right? So yes, if pivot, and escape, run, go. Whatever it is, don't sit around and go, oh, that was a bad decision. That's all I do is make bad decisions. See, this is why I'm not successful. Well, I'm just a history of making bad decisions. And if that's your focus, you're going to continue to make it, because the universe will support whatever you put out there. But the point is that make a decision. And okay, yeah, you're going to make some wrong ones. I mean, shit, when a plane leaves from Boston to Hawaii, it is off track a lot. Any pilot, anybody who's a pilot out there, I'm not a pilot, but I know this, it's not a straight line from Boston to Hawaii. It's on track, off track, on track, off track. Now, a plane will readjust. But before planes did that automatically, a pilot has to readjust. If you're a captain of a boat and you're out in the middle of the ocean, 1 degree off, you can end up in Cuba or wherever the hell you're going, right? You don't even know where you're going. You can end up, who knows, Africa, who knows, right? So it's these constant adjustments. The key is make an adjustment. The key is make the move, make a decision, act on the decision, make mistakes.
Even an indecision is an action. By not making a decision, by not taking an action, and it is in and of itself an action.
Correct. You're either growing or dying. There's no such thing as status quo.
Right.
A lack of a decision is perpetuating your death of whatever the organism you're growing, your family, your relationship, your business, your garden, whatever it is. Lack of attention is attention, but it's killing what you got going on. So your health, a lot of people are sitting around. I'm one of them. I'm glad kind of that we do these Zoom calls from the chest up. Because I'm not going to lie and say that I haven't exactly woofed down all the ice cream and, Lucky Charms in my house. The fact that I even have that stuff. Um, you get a little comfortable, so you get a little doughy. Oh, okay. I haven't been quarantine lean necessarily. I am now, but I'm working on it. But nonetheless, you take advantage of stuff. You make bad decisions. You make bad choices, and then all of a sudden you go, okay, I'm sick of making bad choices. All right, let's get into the gym again. Right? Let's get exercising.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's interesting because one of the things that I've always struggled with weight. Weight's been a problem for me for a long time, ever since I was a child. And a year ago, in the beginning of May, around my birthday last year, I decided that I was going to go vegetarian. And I've been vegetarian now for a year and I love it. And I
Awesome.
can't believe it's been a year. Like it just went so fast. Like I can't even believe it's been a year.
Right.
And then this year, I was looking at myself and I'm like, I used to be so skinny in high school. And high school was like 15 years ago now. So it's been a little while. And I'm like, what did I do then? I rode my bike everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. I rode my bike every day. Before I had a license, I rode my bike. Well, when was the last time I rode a bike? I don't know. So maybe it's time to get on the bike and start riding the bike again. And even if you only ride the bike for a half an hour today, the goal is to ride the bike for an hour every day. If you can ride the bike for an hour every day and you can walk for an hour every day, you'll have all of the movement that you had when you were a senior in high school. You'll probably be close to that same size again. And I was like,
Right.
oh, that's all it would take? Like, I think I probably do have 2 hours at some point in my day, even if it's broken up in like 20 minutes here or 20 minutes there. I think I probably have 2 hours that I could jump on a bike or go for a walk and probably make that happen and have it not be detrimental to other things that I'm trying to accomplish, or even be detrimental to my let's hang out and watch a movie time. How long
Sure.
is a movie? An hour and a half? Okay. Well, if you're moving the whole time the movie is on, you have now moved for an hour and a half that you otherwise would have been sitting on your bum. And I know I'm not the only one that I've had this conversation with a couple of people. How many of us have our butts hurting because we're sitting so long now?
Oh, yeah.
We're not up walking around the office anymore. So get up, go for a walk around your yard, have a phone call in your backyard. It's good.
It's great advice. And the thing about that is, I think we think too much about, well, when I was in high school, I could bike for an hour and I was a little bit sore. I haven't biked in 15 years. Now when I bike for an hour, I'm a wreck. And you probably are, okay, because you're using muscles you haven't used for a while. So don't bike for an hour first time. Don't run a marathon first day. If you were a long distance runner in high school, you're not a marathon runner 40 years after that if you've never done anything in between. Okay,
Right.
baby steps, 1 degree. I'm going to run for 20 minutes. Matter of fact, I'm probably going to walk half of that. I'm going to run, I'm going to walk, I'm going to run, I'm going to walk. Then I'm going to get home. Then I'm going to run. Then I'm going to run a little more. I'm going to run a little more. It's just that one more foot in front of the other, right? So if you can't bike for an hour or you can't walk for an hour, walk for 20 minutes, walk for 30 minutes. Find a way to move the needle a little further in the positive direction.
Yeah.
And don't let the pain or don't let the little hardships stop you from moving forward.
And I think that's really important too. I was just on another conversation earlier today, and I was talking with a friend of mine who's launching a business right now. And I asked her last night when we were scheduling, or when we were talking about what we were going to talk about today, I was like, what gave you the guts to go ahead and launch a business in the middle of all of this? Because this is Corona right now when we're recording this. So we're still in isolation. North Carolina is doing phase 1 today as we're recording this of reopening. And so what she had told me on the phone, and I thought it was great, was I just looked at everything that I have done in my life. And I told myself I have two choices. My choice is sit around and wait for unemployment to come in and try and find a job and go to work for somebody else. Or is there something that I've done that I can repurpose, retool, or reuse that can help generate income for me right now while I wait for unemployment to come in? So unemployment's going to come, but
Mm-hmm.
let me find something to do with my time that's going to help put food on the table, help keep the roof over the head, help do the things that I need to do and keep me moving forward. And I thought that was such a very positive way to look at the situation that she found herself in, having lost her job. That I was like, you're just an inspiration. Like, that's something that people need to hear. We need to find the way. We need to find the tools. Now's the time, right? We all have been in isolation for 2 months. Now's the time to look at your toolbox and say, well, what's in this toolbox exactly? When was the last time you opened your toolbox?
Or when was the last time you even knew what was in your toolbox?
Right.
You know, because there are one of the more common questions I get asked when people want to work with me is, especially I'll call them the entrepreneurs, right? They want to start a business, and they're true dreamers, and they're truly people that I think would take action, because, you know, a real entrepreneur just wants and never, they use want and hope as a strategy and think it's going to get them somewhere, where you know, requires fucking action, not just wanting and hoping. But the people that want to start a business, a very common question is, I don't know what I want to do. And I challenge that question, because I think you really do know what you want to do. You just have all these limiting beliefs, and you've been probably told every time you've tried to start something like that or talk about it that you can't make money at it. And that's just a load of horseshit, right? I mean, I'm sitting in a room right now, and you know, there's a PC monitor in front of me. I have a pen in my hand. I have earbuds, right? I'm wearing an orange hat. We have these couture glasses, this fashion eyewear, right? It cost me $1 that was made. All right. But the point is that somebody in the world, right? Somebody in the world is going, I love making orange sunglasses. I am the king or the queen of orange sunglasses, and I love what I'm doing. And I cornered the market on orange sunglasses. I'm the pen king or queen in the room. I'm the earbud master. I'm the big kahuna of earbuds. And they love what they do. Right? And every single person has a skill that they love. Matter of fact, they love it, and they're so good at it that if they polled their friends and said, hey, if you had to pay me for my advice, or you had to recommend me to somebody else, and they had to pay me for whatever skill I have, what would it be? And they'd go, oh, you're an amazing cook. You're an amazing cook. Oh, you're a good speaker. Oh, you know, you're one of the greatest dads or moms I've ever met in my life. You know, you know how to iron.
Great way to give you some direction. That's how I
Yeah.
started Spin Frogs, actually. I was coming out of a bad business relationship, and I spent a weekend in meditation going, what the hell am I going to do? And before I went into the meditation weekend, I put a post out on my social media page and said, what should I do? Like, what do you think that I would be good at? And I asked my network what they thought I would be good at. And resoundingly, marketing was the response that I got. So, and then I sat in meditation on it for a weekend going, okay, everybody thinks I'm great at marketing. I do know marketing. I have a background in marketing. I have a degree in marketing. I guess I could do something in marketing. What am I going to do with it? And then Spin Frogs came out. So polling your friends is a great way to find out what people would pay you for, what they would recommend you for, and what they think you're good at can help give you direction for you to say, you know what, I actually kind of am good at that, or no, I'm not really good at that.
But you are. That's the thing. If your friends and acquaintances and your family and everything, they start resoundingly telling you, okay, of these 3 things, or here are 3 things that you're really good. You're great at fantasy football. I don't know. I don't care what it is, right? You're the guy at the park that gets all the other kids around. You're the counselor. You're the person that's just amazing at that. You paint a house better than anybody. You organize better than anybody. You're like efficiency, mega mogul. You're great at accounting. All these personal skills, right, that you all have, and we all have, and that we know we're really good at. And when other people identify and say we're really good at it, man, tap into that, especially if you love doing it.
Yeah.
You can create a business out of that. You can create energy and space around that.
Absolutely. And the beautiful thing about it too is if it's something you're good at and something you can enjoy, then you've created something that you get to have fun with every day. And we've talked about this a couple of times on the show, and we've talked about this. We've heard other wildly successful people talk about it. Don't just do a job to do a job. Do something that you love, and you won't work a day in your life. And so if you can find that thing that you love, like you just love making these orange sunglasses, then rock on with your bad self and make those orange sunglasses, and don't let anybody stand in your way of doing something that you love. You have to give yourself permission to do the thing that you love.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. Give yourself permission, give yourself grace, and give yourself a little pat on the back and say, I can make this happen. Stop beating yourself up as much. And if you don't know how to get everything done, get the resources around you, get your friends to help you, get your family, get your, hire people. Just surround yourself with people that are first positive and motivating and inspiring, right? Want to help you get there. Sometimes this cleanse or during this pandemic, it's a good time to declutter. People going through their pantries and they're going through their garages and their closets and they're cleaning stuff up. And that's great. That's a great way, because you can't bring more into your life until you get rid of a lot of the crap.
Right.
And it's probably a good time also to start decluttering your friends, the people you spend a lot of time with, because now you're not spending time with them. And, do I really miss these people? Every time I get around them, are they just really negative? Or every time I get around them, they have lifestyle, they drink, they smoke, they're doing things that I wouldn't necessarily do. And I don't really like that. Or they're negative all the time. Well, now you have a time not to be with them. And it's probably a good time to reassess and say, maybe I need to declutter my circle of friends. Maybe I need to declutter the people that I think are helping but really aren't. They're keeping me down.
Because we're the sum of the 5 people we spend the most time with.
Absolutely.
And so if you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, it might be time to assess what those 5 people look like. And are those people where you want to be, or are those people where you have been? Because if they're where you have been and they're not where you're going, it might be time to stop spending as much time with them and replace the time with somebody where you're going.
Right. If you're the smartest guy in the room, smartest gal in the room, you're in the wrong room. You're not going to be challenged at all. So, go find a room where you're the dumbest person in the room. And, that's the whole theory about, the average of the 5 people you hang out with. You think about that, right? With some groups of people that you hang out with, you're probably at the top of the ladder. And you're feeling good and they make you feel significant and you are the Joneses. Some people, you're probably the average. And then there's some that you're at the bottom and you're going, oh shit, I really like these people. I hope they don't kick me out. I hope they don't put a 5th person in here and I'm the one that gets axed because I really enjoy this. Well, step up your game. If those people really want to be in that game, step it up. Make yourself so you're, irreplaceable. That you bring so much value to those 5 people that they would never get rid of you.
And that's a really fun challenge, is trying to be not the smartest person in the room. It's a fun challenge because it's very humbling when you're not the smartest person in the room. And it's important that we all remain humble in what we do know or what we don't know. And the reality is we don't know shit. None of us knows anything. So to be open to say, you know what? I don't know shit. Teach me something. Everybody has something they can teach. And right now is a great time to talk about how can I take what I know or what I've done and teach somebody, because teaching is a great way to make some money. And guess what? There's a whole lot of people out there who need some education because they're trying to change what it is that they're doing and they don't know how, or they don't know what they're going to go do. So maybe you have something you can teach them that's going to open up a door for them for a new career or new opportunity. But you have to be willing to step outside your comfort zone, and you have to be willing to look at what you do know and say, yeah, I can teach that. And then go make a Zoom call or a webinar, or go do a Facebook Live or a YouTube Live and teach somebody something.
Exactly. And, here's the thing. A lot of people think that only in terms of dollars and cents, money. And it's been ingrained in us, and it's constantly fed to us through the media and motion pictures and fantasy and everything else. That money is the root of everything, right? Money, 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 money. Start a business equals money. Start a business, and Orange Energy, we're all about money also. However, there's also another component to this: is money is a means to an end, right? Money gives you freedoms, or it gives you the opportunity to contribute, or it increases your level of significance because you can go out and buy things that are statusy or whatever. Those are different definitions for money. Yeah. But money also buys, food, okay? And money buys luxury, and money buys some things, seminars, etc., and knowledge. What if instead of thinking in terms of money, you think in terms of barter? Okay, so I don't have money or I can't charge you necessarily money for this skill. I know how to cook. I'm a really good cook, let's say, okay? And you don't have the money to pay me. However, what you do is you are incredibly organized. So I'll tell you what, if I was more organized, I would save money in blah, blah, blah. So I could actually lower my monthly expenses if I was more organized. Also, if you were a better cook, you could learn how to stretch a meal, and I could teach you how to do that. Again, we don't always have to add money to our bank account to be richer. We can be richer by lowering our overhead as well. Exactly. In the same fashion, right? So if I can teach you a skill that helps you lower or maximize your efficiencies so that you don't have to spend as much, and you in turn teach me something that I don't have to spend as much, we didn't transfer dollar bills. We transferred knowledge, and yet it made us money. So people need to think in terms of that as well. It doesn't have to necessarily be, I teach this, you're going to pay me $100. No, right. I teach this, and I'm going to save you $5,000. Really? That's huge. I'm going to make you healthier. You're not going to have as many doctor visits. I'm going to teach you how to floss your teeth, for crying out loud. Okay, shit, like, whatever. You're a hygienist. What am I going to do? I'm going to teach them. I can't have human contact with somebody. Okay, we're going to get online, and I'm going to teach you this dental hygiene. And what are you going to teach me? Okay, you're going to teach me how to ride a bike. And exercise in front of my TV. Great. I lose some pounds. I don't need to eat as much. My diet is better. You have better teeth. You don't have to go to the dentist as often. Boom, boom, boom. Win-win. We didn't spend any money. Well, we saved money.
Life is good. Exactly.
Life is good. Right? There's always an opportunity to teach somebody and barter that skill.
Absolutely.
Wait a minute.
And honestly, that's how our country got started, was on barter.
Well, yeah, it depends, whatever you value you put to something. Like, I know people are putting a ton of value to orange sunglasses right now. Trust me, they're only $1. And you can have a pair.
Only cool people get to have these totally awesome orange sunglasses. They say stay inspiring. But I'm sure that if you got in touch with Frank, he'd be happy to get you one of these really cool pairs of sunglasses.
You get me your address and your email, and they're on the way. You too can be. You don't have to have FOMO anymore. Fear of missing orange.
That's right. So, Frank, what's the best way for our listeners to get in touch with you?
Well, I'm on Facebook with my baptized name, which is my first and middle name, which is Francis Lincoln. My name is Frank Clark. It's Francis Lincoln Clark. But on Facebook, I'm Francis Lincoln. You can find me there. My website is www.themrorange.com. You can check me out there. Or Instagram, or even hit my podcast up. I'm on iTunes and Spotify as Orange Crushing It. You can see me there. I also, I was on YouTube, although I need to refresh some of the episodes here, but me and my buddy, my boss and buddy, we did a series called Gratitube, Tube, TV. We just talk about business ideas and different concepts about life and how to be grateful. And it's fun, because he's a Boston guy and I'm a Boston guy. We like Boston balls. It's just fun banter.
And I loved your Gratitube. Are you guys going to be doing some more episodes soon?
We are. Yeah, we are. As soon as we can get together, we're going to do some more. But yeah.
Yay.
Because it's fun. It's a fun show. So check it out. Or get a hold of Terry. Get a hold of Terrific over here, and she'll hook you up with me.
That's right. Well, thank you, Frank, so much for being on here. I know we could keep talking all day because there's so much that we can talk about and so much knowledge that you have. And I just love being able to spend time with you. But I want to respect your time and also know that you've already given our audience so many amazing things. And I hope they had their pen and paper out because so many amazing things. I'm going to need to watch the episode again. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And for those of you listening, make sure you get in touch with me or Frank so that you can continue to plug into some of these great resources of positivity and the ability to pivot and resources that are going to help you figure out what can you teach? How can you do the barter system? And what are some ways that you can start providing for you, yourself, your family, your household, or your business and your employees? Because at the end of the day, if you're a leader listening to this, you do have a leadership of people that you need to help through this situation and out the other side, because there will be another side. We just have to get through it first. There's always another side. So stay positive. And as Frank says, stay inspiring. Thanks for tuning in.